Welcome to another Zendikar Rising quick draft. So this is my second attempt. First attempt I went 0-3 with a green and blue kickers deck, kickers and landfall deck. Uh, I just I felt I just ran into stronger decks. Really, that was the main problem, and I made quite a few mistakes as well. Um, I think that the critical mistake just I was playing mostly green cards, and I just was running about 7 green sources and 6 blue sources, and splashing black, splashing white as well, and it got completely mana screwed in the second game. So that that was just bit of an oversight there. But yeah, the main thing was I just ran into more aggressive decks with better curves in the first 2 games, and a really well put together Wizards instant sorceries deck in game 3, where I was actually doing well. I got him down to 6 life, and then he had this amazing turn. He had Chilling Trap and the Wizard that gets a boost from an instant. He had 1 blue open, and I had forgotten about Chilling Trap, which I shouldn't have done because he'd already played one in the game. So it allowed him to get a 3-for-1. So the Death Touch guy I had got hit with the Chilling Trap, so he didn't trade off. He got killed. He had the guy getting the boost, became a 3-3, and that killed my 2-3. And of course, he drew a card off the Chilling Trap. So that's left quite a deep impression on me. Uh, and then after that, he was able to use. He had a Relic Amulet as well. He got it up to 5 tokens, and he blew up my last significant creature, a 4/5 gargoyle that I'd kicked out, that I was relying on to hold the line. And he got, yeah, I think it was on 2 tokens, and must have played 3 spells in his turn, and I was still able to activate it. Yeah. So anyway, so I think let's forget about that. Let's move on to the next draft and see how we get on. Uh, I've actually read a second draft guide. So first of all I read Deathsea's draft guide for the first before the first draft. So that's the one on draftsim.com. And today I've just read on cardbase.com Zendikar Rising Draft Guide. Who's that by? A. Malakar. I might have pronounced his name wrong. And he comes to some different conclusions than Deathsea as well. But there are some on this one. There's some quite nice graphs. So there's a party distribution graph, which tells me that unsurprisingly, blue have the most wizards, but red have quite a few as well. And then most of the warriors are in red and white. Most of the rogues are blue and black, and most of the clerics are black and white. And then green has an equal amount of each character class, so it can support another deck that's going for that particular class. That was quite interesting. And then it's got a graph showing all the common removal spells and the percentage number of creatures in the set that those cards will kill, which is quite interesting. So there's one called Molten Blast. I think that's the 2 damage spell. That kills 47.7% of all the creatures in the set. So that might be a bit more impressive than you imagined. I suspect. But as soon as you go up to 3 damage with Royal Eruption, that's killing 76.8%. So that extra point of damage does make quite a big difference. Right, so let's see what we've got. We have a Null Priest of Oblivion. So I haven't. This is only my second draft, of Zendikar Rising. I haven't collected many cards in the set, so I am rare in rare drafting mode, and this looks like a pretty good rare to draft. So it's a 2-drop 2/1 Menace Lifelink. That's already pretty fantastic. It's got a kicker. When you kick it, you just bring a creature card straight from the graveyard to the battlefield. So that's sort of an animate dead kind of effect. It's a cleric as well, so we'll remember that. Yeah, we'll just totally grab that. That's pretty amazing. Okay, what have we got here? So first, now the rule I always mention it just to remind myself. First 5 packs, we're just looking for the absolute best card in each pack, and after that we're going to figure out what we're doing. So we've got Fearless Fledgling, so that's got landfall. Every land will give that a +1/+1 counter and gets flying till end of turn. That seems very strong to me. Even if you're not playing a landfall deck, that's a good 2-drop. Yeah, we've got the Wind Robber, who mills things. 1/1 flyer. You can sack it to draw a card. I'm not super impressed by that. You kind of want a dedicated mill strategy that's built around that, I feel like. Okay, that's the what they call they call this a double modal card. So it can be a forest, or well, it can be a land, or you can add a token, a counter for 1 mana. Instant speed. It's it's actually not too bad if I'm playing green. I'd be happy to have that. Mesolinx. So it can be a 2/3 blocker for 2 mana. Your opponent's turn. So that's a pretty good 2-drop. Antique Ignition. Yeah, I've already had a spell countered by this. Goes, yeah, definitely goes with a mill deck. So I'd say these 2 blue cards, they're for a dedicated mill deck, and we don't want to jump into that straight off the bat. Okay, Hagra Constrictor +1 enters the battlefield with 2 +1/+1 counters. So it's a 2/2 for 3. But each creature with a +1/+1 counter has menace. So it's a 2/2 menace. So yeah, you can I think the idea is you can go for a green-black +1/+1 counters deck. So that would fit neatly into that. That's another cleric. Whenever you gain life, each opponent loses 1 life. 3/2 for 3 rather, which is decent. And then synchronized spellcraft. So I think I passed over this in the last draft. Because I just read Deathsea's advice, and for some reason he was suggesting that removal isn't as good as in this set, and I had those words in my mind, and I passed over a few removal spells like this one. But the latest guide I've read suggests that the removal is pretty good, so I don't know who to believe. But yeah, it's 4 damage for 5 mana. It does extra damage to the controller for the number of creatures in your party, so it's okay. It's a 5 damage removal spell. It's if you survive that long, it might be very useful. But my experience, my 3 losses was a quick blue-black mill deck that overwhelmed me with flyers, just sort of 2/1 flyers and things like that. Then I kind of got mana screwed the next game, and then the third one was the blue-red Wizards deck, which didn't do much the first few turns. It just kept drawing cards and things, and then it exploded. Right, Tuk Tuk Rubble Fort. I suppose there's also a green red landfall deck, which I've heard is not considered to be very strong because if it's on the play, it's a bit weaker. It's sort of on. So this is the Canopy Bailoff. You don't get a permanent token. You just get a +2/+2 when you do landfall. I drafted a couple of Might and Mirasis for my deck, but I never used them because I was just too low on creatures. I felt like I always want more creatures in the deck. Yeah, Scale the Heights and Tajuru. Blightblade, I actually drafted 4 of those in the previous draft, but I only used either 2 or 3. And I guess fly. Yeah, they don't do anything against flyers. That's the issue there. So, what's the best card in this? I like the Fledgling. It seems like a cheap, hard to deal with. It's a cheap creature that they have to deal with. It's going to get out of control. And I know that black-white, you can go black-white clerics. That's definitely a deck. This is quite a good cleric, but we're going to think a bit about what might wheel around, I suppose, as well. This first pick kind of puts us in double black. It's a really good card, so I feel like we're going to be in black, but we'll try not to worry too much about that. It's between the Synchronized Spellcraft and the Fearless Fledgling, I would say. I think maybe based on the experience in the previous draft, where my early drops were pretty weak. I had loads of these guys, the Blightblades, but my 2 drops were a bit lacking. I'm going to pick a decent 2-drop, just so I've got a solid curve for the deck. Okay, isn't that nice? We have a black-white card who's a Vampire Cleric, and that's also something that grows when you get life gain. So I'm 99% sure we're going to go for this guy, but let's look at what else we've got. Yep, that's a buff spell. Okay, Nahiri's Binding's good. That's a decent removal spell. Right, flyer, removal spell. Pretty good bounce spell there. So yeah, I think it's the Cleric of Life's Bond. Even though there's some good removal, we're building up a pretty solid set of 2-drops here, which they're going to form the backbone of the deck. So definitely, we're into clerics. We've got +1/+1 counters as well. Right. Yep. Okay, we've got a rogue. So that's more for the mill deck. Still, it's 3/4 for 4. So we're already having a few issues with our 4th pick here, because there's white card. That's not I don't really play these kinds of cards. Combat Tricks. And that's probably something I'm not going to play. So we'll go back to my what I usually say, which is let's pick the best card. So I saw Ardent Electromancer do pretty well against me. I think it generated 4 red mana the last time someone played this against me. Also, Gnarlid Colony is a good 2-drop, but when you're getting into a third color with your 2-drops, it's a bit iffy. But it's got the +1/+1 counter theme. It's supporting that theme. It's a good card. We might not play it. But we're going to go for the, I think they call these the Abzan colours, white, black and green. So we keep our options a little bit open. Okay, that gives us just a temporary boost. I feel like that's pretty good. Okay, Flying Vigilance with Party Mechanic. So it's at least a 2/2 Flying Vigilance, I suppose. And it's a warrior. Guess what? We've got 2 clerics so far. So that's a second party member. That seems pretty good. That seems pretty good. But I think, yeah, I think I prefer the flyer. Yeah, I drafted a couple of these Drana's Silencers. I didn't use them. They're just far too expensive, and just they don't do enough. I didn't have a very good party. I didn't support the party mechanic very well. So that's another, quite good 2-drop creature. But yeah, I'd be mad to go for that one when I can go for Emeria Captain. Okay, that's just it's a nice 2/2 flyer. You can bounce a land for your landfall stuff. I think I'm more likely to play that than a Makindi Ox. I'll try and get our early, and it's better to get your early drops sorted out first. That actually could work for me to protect a creature. Quite a tempting card, but we might pick up one of those later in the draft because we do have enough +1/+1 counters. Everything apart from the Null Priest actually has a +1/+1 counter. I think we'll go for the flyer. Okay. So quite a decent land. Land spell, whatever you want to call it. +2/+2 could definitely win you the game. So that's another little cantrip spell. Not too bothered about it. And we've got a Skyclave Sentinel, so that's another flyer with a kicker ability. I played a couple of these in the last. I took a couple of these in the last draft, and yeah, they were they're pretty decent, but I mean, they always got blown up, but... And it's got +1/+1 counters, hasn't it? So, do I take that over the McKinley to Stampede? I feel like we'll probably get to see another one of these later. I think McKinley Stampede is pretty good for the deck. That is a cleric. Oh, there's a good point here. Okay, that supports itself as long as you have clerics. So there is this suggestion I should be getting every cleric I see from now on. No, yeah, it's just 2 clerics I've got. Okay, I think on balance, let's get the cleric. I just talked myself into that one. Okay, yep, that now looks a lot better, the Hagra Constrictor. So that is making a lot of my guys get Menace. That's a very solid cleric. Gives me lifelink. Yeah, just grab that cleric. And our mana curve is looking pretty sweet. Yep, just another solid 2-drop. We might not play it. It is throwing a lot of synchronized spellcrafts at me. That... So I suspect we won't play a Mesolinx if I pick it. I think I'm going to start picking up some of these synchronized spellcrafts because maybe we can splash red for these. Okay, cool. Another flyer, but also Guldra's Mucklord has another counter to give out. I'd go for that flyer, to be honest. That's seems very solid. And a Resolute Strike. Okay. Pretty nice. Last three cards are all playable. Now we've got we're going to pick this rare, but probably won't be able to play it. We could, potentially splash blue for it. We'll read what he does and see how good he is. So he's got flash. That's a good start. Okay. He works with rogues. He's got like a ninjutsu with rogues. Oh right, and you can grab permanents from the graveyard, and yeah, that seems really good. Alright, yeah, I think we'll grab that rare as well. But that's definitely going in the sideboard. Right, I've spotted a nice removal spell. That will kill most things in the set. Right, I think it's looking like we'll drop the Knowledge Colony. That's quite a nice card. Yeah, Cleric. So yeah, I think it's the black removal spell. Pretty nice land, that one. This guy's pretty good. I don't think we splash for this though. Okay, there's the life gain, and it's another cleric. But that is Nahiri's Binding. That's a really good removal spell. So this is a good pack. We'll hope the cleric will actually wheel around. Might do. So yeah, go ahead and get that removal spell. Another Hagra Constrictor. I think we just grab that. Moss Pit Skeleton. So that's yeah, that's got the counters theme. It's in theory you could splash for it if you're only going to play it as a 5 mana 5/5. Okay, that's a Vampire Warrior. So, Vampire Warrior or Moss Pit Skeleton. I'm just gonna, yeah, we've got the Emeria Captain. He's using the party mechanic. However, it is a warrior already, so it doesn't necessarily need a warrior. I think this recurring creature might be quite good. Let's try them out, because the other options aren't amazing. Yeah. Let's see. Feed the Swarm. Okay, very good removal spell. Getting it pick 7. That's pretty nice. Okay, we could go Drana Silencer, I suppose, or the McKindiox, which can help you get through. maybe I'll give the Drana silencer another go, because I feel like our party mechanic is doing all right. We've got, obviously we're mainly clerics. 4 of those. Got 1 rogue, couple of warriors. No wizards yet. Yeah. I'm not too excited by McKindy Ox. Oh yeah, this is the card I was one of the cards I was missing yesterday for the blue-green kicker deck. Pretty nice. Okay, yeah, the Prowling Philidar, more counters and landfall. Seems to fit the theme pretty well. Well, I suppose we've got two themes, haven't we? We've got clerics and we've got +1/+1 counters. I tried using spare supplies. It's a bit of a filler card. And then when I lost against the aggro deck, I dropped it because it was something I played, and it felt like, yeah, I did 2 mana to not achieve very much. Yeah, you're spending a lot of mana on just getting more cards, and it's maybe not quick enough. Blood Beckoning, right? Feel like that seems okay, and I've already got a Drana Silencer. I don't think I played 2 of those. I think we'll try the Blood Beckoning. Well, if we want to splash green for another cleric, we can. Yep. Guess that's that blue spell is the most splashable thing. I think ultimately we'll probably drop it. Again, that's a bit more splashable. Troll Warrior, probably not very splashable. Okay, yeah. It's suggesting I should have gone green-black, isn't it? So that is a 3/3 for 3. So 100% we'll grab that, and I think we're getting a bit more serious about green. But let's say we do have Zareth San, who's pretty amazing. I think can do without these 2 blue cards. And we probably don't need that red burn spell. Yeah, we actually didn't end up with any, what do you call them? Land spells. We always found something a little bit better. So that's the deck so far, I think. We've got a very serious issue with mana fixing, because we're not properly in green. We're not going to have that many forests in the deck, and green seems to be the source of most of the mana fixing. So that, in fact, there you can see Reclaim the Wastes. So I think just leave the deck like that, just to remind myself I've got possibilities in green and blue. And we'll just see what we can do here. I mean, is it possible I would drop white completely? Because I drop a pretty good removal spell there. No, I think that would be madness, wouldn't it? Anyway, that is a cleric. Pretty nice. Okay, sacrifice a creature or planeswalker. Another cleric. Okay, I've got an argument against Demon's Disciple. So I am also using Nihiri's Binding. So there are situations where they've got something they can sacrifice at no cost. Arguably an Expedition Healer is a better cleric to have. Okay, Practice Tactics. Is that a good removal spell? You end up doing between 0 and 8 damage, but you're probably going to do 2 damage at least, maybe 4. It's not bad. Yeah, and there's this guy, Ghastly Gloom Hunter. So this is pretty good. You can play a cheap life linker. You can it's got the life gain theme, and it's got the counters theme, and it happens to be a kicker spell as well. So it kind of does everything. Yeah, I think we go that. Just another nice 2-drop. That is a rogue. You can give it Death Touch with another rogue. I don't think that's very likely to happen. Oh, okay, so the Skyclave Shadowcat is suddenly quite good. Makes a lot of my creatures let me draw cards when they die. Yeah, I think we still haven't quite decided if we're +1/+1 counters or clerics. How are we doing on the old cleric front? Let's have a look. 5 clerics. I think we're doing a bit better on the +1/+1 tokens, to be honest. I think I'd drop this one. I don't see myself using that one. Yeah, I'll do a little count. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I've got nine things with +1/+1 counters, and I've got 5 clerics. Yeah, I think let's go for the Shadow Cat. It's a sacrifice outlet as well. Syndiclasm's not bad at all, is it? 2 damage to everything. 3 mana. There's more +1/+1 counters there. Okay, that's a cheap warrior. 1/2 for 1. So we've got 2 warriors. Yeah, we're still on 0 wizards. I don't think... Yeah, white and black aren't that good for wizards. However, green has a wizard, Jiraka Visionary. But there's also another Skyclave Sentinel. Did we actually? No, we never actually took the previous one. I suppose the argument against this card it isn't an aggro card. You've got to spend 7 mana for it to do aggro things. It's defensive. Unless you can put +1/+1 tokens on it. Counters. Which I don't think I can. I think everything I've got here they just get their own tokens. Yeah. So I've talked myself out of Skyclave Sentinel definitely. So this would give us a wizard. It's in green. We kind of play green. That's another cleric as well as getting +1/+1 counters. I'm gonna go for the wizard. Okay. Yeah, not bad. Not a bad land there. Okay, that's mana fixing. If I'm just splashing for party members, but Boss Pit Skeleton and Grakmor are not party members. That's a shame. It works for Jiraka Visionary and Turntimber Ascetic. Dreadworm becomes indestructible. That's a pretty solid ability. I wonder where... I'm going to look at Deathsea's tier list and see where he puts Dreadworm. Oh, it's down in D tier. Right at the bottom. Seems good, but I thought, yeah, somebody's... I suppose it doesn't have any evasion at all. It's just hard to kill on your turn. I suppose that would be another warrior. Are we caring that much about the party mechanic at the moment? Yeah, kind of. I guess we want to get two guys out for this guy, so he's a 3/3 flyer. 3/3 with vigilance, pretty decent. Yeah, base camp is base camp good. It enters the battlefield tapped as well. Oof. Oof. that is rough. Yeah, F grade for base camp. Okay. let's grab the warrior. Let's grab another 2-drop. We might not use it, but okay, Malakir Rebirth. Okay, so it costs you 2 life, but it keeps a creature alive. I like it. Is there anything else amazing? That's a cleric. It does a little drain life effect, which is quite nice. Yeah, it's a shame. There's always been something a bit better than the land option. I think, how are we doing on clerics? Let's have a look. 5 clerics. Okay, cleric number 6. And that's life gain as well, so yes, I think so. Well, that's a good one. That's just, yeah, just a removal spell. Be surprised if there is something better than that. Okay, that does a little buff spell. Prowling Fellow. Oh, we do already have one of these. I think the deck is kind of, yeah, with 3 cards over. I think we would probably drop the Giant Cleric on balance. Even though that is the easiest thing to try and put in the deck. Let's, at this point, yeah, we've sort of failed to get mana fixing. Let's just have a look at the deck without the splash colors, the splash cards, and see how many cards we need to fill out the deck. Alright, we've got 21. So the deck's pretty much full up. We've got a few more picks. 8 more picks. I think, yeah, we definitely take that. That just seems very good. But that is just a land, so we still need 2 more things in the deck. Yeah, we've got 1 Blood Beckoning, haven't we? Another removal card. It should do at least 2 damage. It's all right, isn't it? We can have another creature. Looks like we're okay on 3 drops, I guess. Don't desperately need another way to get counters. That's the way you can put counters on other creatures as well. That's the utility this guy gives you. So I think we can go for this removal, sort of conditional removal spell. You need creatures for it to work, but I think it's gonna work. It should work. Another cleric. Sweet, and it can bestow indestructible. That might be useful. Yeah, let's try that one. Another cleric. Another removal spell or a warrior. I think potentially we just drop a Blood Beckoning, and we'll take another practiced tactics. we'll just see in total how many party members we've got. It's going to be sad if practice tactics just whiffs and we've got nothing in play. Okay, 3 warriors, 1 rogue. That's 4 and 6 clerics. So yeah, 10. We got 10 creatures. So it's got a good chance of doing 2 damage, and it seems like a pretty fast meta game where there's a lot of small flyers flying around. I think having 2 of those seems good. Okay, we can take another Hagra Constrictor, which we probably won't use. The Skyclave Sentinel. Yeah, I'll just take one of those. Take one of those. Okay. Right, I think, well, situation, we're in black and white, we have no mana fixing, so if we wanted to splash a colour, it would be a case of going 7 plains, 7 swamps, and 3 of the other colour, and I've seen it suggested that that is a very bad idea. That's going to lead to quite inconsistent draws. Is there something so good that it would be worth doing that? Well, there's Zarath Sam the Trickster, who just tell you what, the way you get that through and unblocked, he has to be unblocked, and he doesn't have any evasion. He's relying on another rogue that you've got with evasion, so that's why that guy's he's never going to get through unblocked, is he? Because we've only got 1 rogue, and that 1 rogue is a Drana's Silencer. Which is a good example. That's one yeah. That's a shame. Okay, so we've got no wizards and no rogues, so the party mechanic is kind of dead in the water, I would say. Which because yeah, we've got 3 warriors though. So yeah, this guy isn't gonna fuel our party mechanic. He's a 6 mon. He's a 6 drop. I think we just drop him. There we go. And this guy is basically a big creature, potentially for 5 mana, so you get a 7/5, which is pretty impressive. But I think no, just no. So America Captain can still be a 3/3 vigilance, and it's got flying. Probably it's still worth playing. Prowling Felidar. All the landfall cards are a little bit dubious because we're just relying on land draws for them. We don't have ways to force landfalls. Which one's better, Prowling Felidar or America Captain? This one's actually got evasion as well as vigilance. I think, yeah, we drop that Felidar. Definitely the Shadow Cat is pretty awesome though. Yeah, decent. It's got a decent bit of adding counters. I think we keep a Skyclave Sentinel because it's potentially that's my biggest flyer, potentially 4/5. That can be my late game creature. It could be an emergency flying blocker, which we've seen that's definitely something that can be important. I don't think we ended up with a huge amount of life gain. Oh, I will tell you, yeah, that's one thing we can do. We actually got a white mana land. So I've got 18 land in the deck, and let's see. In that case, I think I will drop the plains. Or will I? Maybe 18 land is correct, because I feel like... So, the guy that... I mean, I was going to be staunchly sticking to 17 land in the face of the advice, which is to play 18 land. But the advice is, if you're more likely to play a card as a spell, then it shouldn't count as a land. I am much more likely to use that creature removal spell than I am to play that land. So I think, realistically, we've got to play 18 land. I think that's the right amount. I think one thing I was going to try and count the number of life gain things. So I didn't think I'd play all 3 Hagra Constrictors, but you know, just realizing I can just drop a Prowling Felidar. Prowling Felidar is not going to be that good, really. You'll get to 4 lands, and then it might be a while before you draw your 5th land. So it's just a 2/3 vigilance for 4. So yeah, maybe. I've talked myself out of that card. I think it's not that good. It's not got evasion, I suppose, but unless you've got a Hagra Constrictor and it's got a token. Right, Nere's Binding, Angel Heart Protector is a cleric, so I think we got to play our clerics. Like giving something indestructible might be good. Means you can attack with something that's a little bit weaker, or something important that could be sort of double blocked and killed. Right, Cleric of Life's Bond. So that, yeah, you can get one counter a turn. Yeah, this is our best card, I guess. That's probably going to do a 1 or a 2 point drain life, but it's something, and he's a cleric, and it's great. It's life gain, so it. Oh right, it's actually, yeah. It's not going to do a double trigger on this guy, because it only works once per turn. That's got life link, so that works in several ways. That's very decent removal there. Another decent removal. This is definitely a good example of a landfall card, because it gets evasion and it comes out early, so it benefits from some of your early land drops. Definitely playable. That's nice, so that can get lifelink and as well, and trigger your cleric. Just a warrior for party purposes and practice tactics. Yeah, so yeah, pretty happy with that deck. I'm just going to take a little break, so I'll call that end of part 1. And no doubt I'll come back and the deck will be unrecognizable. Well, we'll see what happens. Okie doke.